little contrarian at this stage, but as far as we're concerned for you, Whippet, same idea?
Yeah, I do think, though, this is going to be a 3-mapper. I think we're going to go and see this decided on border. I feel that we might actually witness Oregon go in favor of FaZe, but I think Liquid can bounce back from that point. Just a hunch, but I went for Liquid again. I can't go against them. They're my favorite team in the region. Call me biased, but I think they get it done in 3.
I mean, Connor, they were first on attack, second on defense, I believe, with FaZe Clan being, I think, 5th to 8th or something like that. So if we're looking purely from attacking/defensive rankings, do you think that's kind of enough for most people to sway Liquid in this one?
Yeah, it definitely is. If you didn't catch it, I just started throwing on my blue jacket because I felt awkward. You were wearing red for FaZe, and I had to be the contrarian to your contrarian. But I agree with our Brits for once. This is, or we'll just say the UK full, that it's going to be a 2-0. And I think that they should be able to take away this game and have a whole lot of fun.
All right, well, let's go round 3,420 for a total combined amount of $12,000 more and 20 additional 6 invitational points. Whip it, Gibson. Go get it, boys.
Thank you, guys. And this is it. 2 of the most storied teams in all of Siege history. 2 of the most storied orgs in esports history going head-to-head in BR finals. But I couldn't sleep last night with excitement for this one. How pumped are you?
Oh, man, when I saw our names pop up in the schedule and we had this matchup, not only was I excited, oh, it's a final of Brazil, what a time to be alive, but it was FaZe Liquid. This is a matchup that everyone looks at the calendar and goes, yes, this is going to throw up some fireworks. Both these teams are locked in for Phase 2 at the Copenhagen Major. However, pride, SI points, and a little bit of extra cash is going to be the driving factor this one, Gibby. We're in Oregon. I think this is going to go to FaZe. I do think Liquid will take the series from this point, but what, you think they're going to get done in 2?
I think Liquid are going to have it done in 2. They spoke a little bit about Volps in the pre-show. He's been the fountain of youth for this side. He's reignited the spark and Nesk and Palu. They've been playing phenomenal Siege. But I will point out one thing with it. Liquid took 1L this stage. And who was it to?
FaZe Clan. It was FaZe Clan on Skyscraper.
Mm-hmm. So these sides have gone head-to-head before. So we're going to kick it off on the site that you always like to call a gimme. When you're playing on basement here, you gotta win it. And looking at the defensive lineup that they have, you've got Azami. That's going to be really difficult to deal with. But the big one for me is Lagonis on the Oryx. How much of a nuisance can he be on the delay game here for FaZe Clan? But to me, it looks like it's a standard entry push from FaZe.
Looks to be a little bit aggressive. They have Viking on the Ying, so I think they're going to try and take control reasonably fast. At least that might be my interpretation of that. KDS outside of main door will likely just open up that double barricade by main door and hold on control. And well, FaZe, they have so much control for free and a great drone instead of elbow, and that's going to be handy holding that. Now they know elbow's clear, you've got to worry about pillar, and that'll be Cyber's job at the time being, and Nate will clear that barbed wire. They'll send a second one deep to clear the player on highway. And Viking gets the opening. Lagonis is first to fall with the trade from Paul, who sings wide, reads into it perfectly, and while FaZe collapse and get 2. Elbow's been taken complete control of, and Liquid left in a 4 versus 2. Resets finds one the KDS, and very early we have an absolute brawl between these sides. Paul, who's stuck in a rock in a hard place, is going to be Vita King that sends him to the ether. 3 versus 1 resets. He's active to reset for his team, finds one head, looks for a second, he gets it through the wall, but it's going to be Vita King, calms the nerves. And FaZe get themselves a very rapid opening round on the basement of Oregon, which you mentioned, I alluded to, sometimes with teams, this can be the gimme site.
What, 75 seconds in the first round of Brazil, and FaZe Clan have already won it by taking down all of Team Liquid. Are we back in 2019, 2020? Is this the old Brazil that we're looking at right now with the way this one kicked off?
I would not be complaining. If this is the Brazil that comes out at absolute breakneck pace, I am here for it. And I have a feeling the tempo of this game is going to be quick. Liquid have a pretty good habit of early round dominance so far with this new roster, being able to control those first couple of engagements. If you take that advantage away, get in their face, take these rapid fights, and look at Handy, on the sense, not a common operator, but one of those, what I would say is execute heavy or execute reliant operators. Goes 6 away from it, fortunately. Every time, Gibby, every time I talk about something like, oh, this could be a huge impact operator, they pick away. Viking's going to bring the buck, and to me, that's going to telegraph it. They're going to try and chew open the floor inside of dorms, and then make it very difficult to play inside of the B-bomb site. That will be the intention. So, FaZe, I'm reading into a west side clear from this position.
Yeah, and it's almost full attacking lineup change. The only operator staying the same is Iana, which you'll probably see in most attacking rounds every single time that FaZe Clan are going to play anyway. So, We're getting started in this round. As you pointed out, you think it's going to be a full clear from the west side of the map. So in order to do that, you got to take control of in and around kitchen and dining. Make sure that you control that side of the map so you can control white stairs. Vulps will hold over by Big Tower, trying to get that early spawn peak to maybe get some momentum on their side. But as you pointed out, nobody spawned in that postcode. And by getting double window open here as well, but you're also making it just a little bit more difficult for those defenders to rotate up white stairs and rotate in towards Hobo if there's not a player there already.
Actually, a massive cut-off moment. The opening pick is going to go for Handy, who finds it on the desk, but instantly Paul is there to get a trade. He'll be able to collect souls as well, so advantage swings very quickly. With look at the tempo of this game is insane. Normally in Oregon, you see these slow, methodical stages for the early game, but resets will find one of the Vatican who walks straight into Attic. Just like that, 3 versus 2. We're a minute in, Gibby. A minute into this round. It's a 3 versus 2. Liquid hold it now, and if they just hold these key positions, they can stop a lot of pressure. Cyber stuck outside of white stairs, can't do anything from that position. Nade from KDS should be good. Toss deep, doesn't arrive. So he's hoping that one would have connected, but they regroup and restack, ready to take trophy. But this player inside of Attic is going to be a massive problem.
Yeah, you gotta clear Attic, so Cyber's being put under a lot of pressure. He peeks again, but behind the boxes, the head will not be revealed. There's KDS, though, getting one onto Vulps, bringing it back to a 2 versus 2. Cyber gets another one on the resets, and KDS takes down Lagonas. And just like that, FaZe rapidly pushed to a 2-0 lead. Well, but if this was NAL, we'd still be at the end of round 1.
I mean, if this was NAL, we would have probably, it would have been a long, every second drawn out, 000 plant, you name it, it would have happened. But FaZe have just decided we are going to go absolutely rapid. It is so fast, so aggressive, and Liquid don't have an answer. Who, realistically, in a game like this, a grand final, expects your opposition to be knocking on the door within 30 seconds, even less in the case of the opening and that round. So go back to the basement, and this is where they'll make adjustments, they'll make changes, but when you look at the right lineup the FaZe have brought out, they don't have that Ying this time. Now they can, again, pick towards it, and I think they might do that. But Paul is on the Warden, that's designed to counter that initial play. I think FaZe have shown a hand, but it might be a fake for the time being. They might go, right, we're going to go so quick and so fast, but now we'll slow it down. Now we'll play normal as you've adapted. This could be a pretty big little switch up, and if Liquid are expecting fast and they get hit by Methodical, it can throw off the rhythm quite a bit.
Well, I've always been adamant with it that the defensive team are usually not the ones to set the tempo. It's down to the attacking side to set the tempo of the game. Because I like to think about, you know, for people who watch sports, especially Brazilians, think of it like football. A team defending a 1-0 lead, they're usually going to sit back and soak up some pressure. So FaZe Clan need to continue the tempo, to continue to keep Team Liquid on their toes. And by keeping the tempo, I don't mean rushing every round. I mean constantly taking your foot on and off the accelerator so Liquid just don't know what you're going to do.
Already at this stage, you know, in the opening round, we would have saw Liquid halfway down the rear stage stairs at this stage, but they're going for a more full clear. I think this is a wise choice. Liquid adapting to this, but they're not playing with a substantial roam. There's no one upstairs, and the information gets choked out. The default cameras go one by one. But the Monty's in play. Vitaking is going to be on that Monty. The drone network looks very good from FaZe so far. You've only lost 2. You've got a lot of them deployed in use as well, and they're going to walk down and get essentially Freezer for all but free. They need to open up that hatch to make it a little bit safer to have everyone work in that position. But a lot of pressure and a key high-impact high utility operator of that Monty is now to put in. That keyword barrier doesn't quite connect the way they would have wanted, but we'll get the job done.
It'll still provide a little bit of a one-way for the player playing by pillar. The Mira ban here is huge, though, for that Monty push down Freezer. You ban Mira, it makes it so much easier. So, with 1 minute and 43 seconds left on the clock, Lagonas has fallen back towards that Freezer door, as we still see a little bit of indecisiveness from FaZe Clan as to what way they're going to push, because they didn't expect Freezer wall to be open and soft the whole way across, so they don't want to step into that gauntlet. So there goes the lion scan to freeze players in position. But you can see by the silhouettes that it's a very split push that looks like it's about to become from FaZe Clan. You've got a couple of players over by Library, a couple of players still inside of meeting, but as time goes away, this push will have to become more and more linear.
Just over a minute to work with 60 seconds and change, no opening engagements yet. This could be a very key moment. One player FaZe have rotated down towards Bunker. That's going to be the Monty. So the Monties went all the way from Freezer, now inside a Bunker, and they're redirecting this push. Cyber creeps down Laundry, but the Beeper's going to give away that position. Handy finds the opening, and that's going to be on the Nesk. You lose your Oma, and you might lose someone else deep inside a freezer. KDS finds one of the Vobs, Handy finds a second, Delagonis, and well, one by one, they could begin to fall. Paul, who gets aggressive, but can't find one, the Cyber, and it's gonna be bit by bit, FaZe collapse on Liquid, and they take Oregon one by one in a flawless round. Oh my, and Liquid, I think rightfully so, have called a very, very early timeout, 3 rounds in, but it feels like we've only just started. These have been so quick so far.
Timeout brought to you by Intero, by the way. You got to get the correct term in there, Whip it. It's the Intero timeout, but I agree. FaZe Clan have caught Team Liquid sleeping 3 rounds to the good. We've not even seen the last 30 seconds of a round yet. That's how quickly FaZe Clan have been able to pick apart Team Liquid, and I feel like if Team Liquid waited any longer, that the timeout would have no effect. So you got to take it now. You got to stem the bleeding. Right now, my prediction of Liquid in 2 ain't looking too good because FaZe Clan have come to... Look at Handy. He was highlighted at the start of the show. 4-2 with 2 assists after just 3 rounds.
He's having an absolutely fantastic game so far. And we're only 3 rounds in. For Liquid at this stage, you really need to get these rounds, right? So we're no longer living in that 4-2 split era. This is pretty solid. You expect teams to go in 3-3 and everything gets a little bit scrappy from round 7 onwards. They need to start winning rounds now. Like, there's no exception. There's no, we can get back into this slowly, but surely, no, you need them now because you're in Oregon. Historically, this leans towards the defense. They're going to go to the basement for a 3rd time. Their 3rd bite of the cherry. And will it work out? They're going to bring a very similar lineup once again. Malusi in play. Paul, who's on that Warden. But I just feel that the tempo FaZe are bringing is so disruptive right now. If you don't fight them on the entry, if you let them have the map control, if you don't contest them, you don't upset that rhythm, it's going to be more of the same.
And they've set it up straight away to try stop that rhythm. They've brought themselves a Goyo, which will slow down with the fleet, with those canisters being popped, and the Malusi being brought by Lagonis. That is intended now to slow down the FaZe Clan push just ever so slightly. So, what do FaZe do in response to that? Well, you're going to bring a Twitch because you can pop those Goyos, but Volps is going to go for the early spawn peek, and he might be able to catch a fish with this one, and he does. KDS will fall, and Team Liquid, for the first time, are able to get the opening pick. And by removing the Iana, removing KDS, who had 4 kills already, and Paolu's going to get 1 for his troubles too. Down goes Souls, but that's a big one, but if that's the Habana gone, so now the hatches, you're going to have to use Buck, but Buck doesn't even have hard breaches, so it's all down to Cap.
Not only that, not only have they got massive utility, all cleared away, massive damage done to that, they've fought them on the entry. Look how early we are in the round once again. More early engagements, but this time in the favor of Liquid. This is what they needed. So that tactical timeout, they've amended these decisions. They've said, let's get aggressive. Let's get in the face of FaZe. Let's be disruptive to this rhythm. And it's worked out so far. Now, there is still 2 minutes in this round, and there is a team that can claw back from a 2-player disadvantage. You might as well say it's FaZe, because, well, Andy's having a good game. So is Vidaking. And you have Cyber alive as well. So if you wanted 3 capable players to claw this one back, you've got them. And they've opened up the hatches that they need to get a drop execution rolling. You gotta feel this round's not settled yet. We've got lots of time to start trying to code that with 1:45 still remaining.
Yeah, and I like what Cyber's doing here. Drops down the smoke so we can get the Twitch drone in to get rid of some of that utility as well. So Vidaking's going to drone out Freezer as well. Spots the fact that there is a beeper, which will give away their position as they push from that side of the map as well. Elbow still being hold as well, but Cyber has made his way down Library. He's currently sneaking behind enemy lines. Now, as you can see, Whippet, there is a rat prone on site looking this direction, but with 1:15 to go, FaZe Clan still have so much of that important currency that is time left to play with, and as you said, with the people they have got up, there's still a chance in this round for FaZe.
Liquid, though, they've went aggressive, and now they've somewhat fallen back towards a defensive shell, and this is a fantastic decision. King's next to go. He's going to be left in deep, you know, and he's all the way out in Narnia, and that's going to be another pick, and well, just like that, a flawless round in retort to what FaZe just on the Liquid. 3 rounds, FaZe absolutely dismantled Liquid, decided one by one they're going to rip them to shreds. Timeout called, flawless rounds retort. I mean, perfect example of how to use a timeout.
It is. You have to win that round after the timeout. That's the whole point. But this is round 5 in Brazil finals. Round 1, done in 75 seconds. Round 2, done within 75 seconds. Round 3, flawless FaZe. Round 4, flawless Team Liquids.
You know, they decided, right? They were like, yeah, we've already got our ticket to Copenhagen. Let's go as fast as possible because we're so excited to go out to that major. And both these teams, of clarity, are in phase 2. This is realistically for seeding or that Swiss format when they go across. This is going to be exciting. I'd love to see these two teams clash again. And that'd be a wonderful sight.
And you spoke about the Swiss format. I am so excited to see how the Swiss format's going to play out inside of the major as well. It's going to be so much fun to see sides like this. But I want to segue just a second, Whippet.
Oh goodness, where are you going?
You and I were in the room in Berlin when FaZe Clan lost that major final. You and I were both in the room in Jönköping when Liquid lost that final. And there was a completely different aura about both of those sides afterwards. There was the question marks about Team Liquid. Was that the end for Nesk and Palu? They've sunk so many years and so many important moments of their life into this game. And you just thought that maybe that might have been the last ride. But they've come back strong. They had a disappointing SI. They've brought in Volps. And they've been fantastic all stage long. Like, you know, FaZe Clan, on the other hand, there was people questioning the roster moves that they made. Some people thought maybe they'd made a mistake. But here they are in the Brazil finals, proving people wrong, and they've come out of the traps running.
They found their footing in these best of 3s. I think the best of 1s are always kind of a dangerous gambit from any team. A single mistake, a bad day, a poor warm-up, and it can all spiral and unravel into a poor result. I mean, look how dominant we've seen Lost 1 be. It'd be inside of all competitions, and in the best of 1s, they didn't necessarily look like themselves here. A much more standard round of Siege unfolding in front of your eyes, of course. It's Oregon, so bit by bit, teams are going to go, and it's going to be a long opening engagement or a long opening stage as they get map control, get themselves postured up to take these fights. And Vidaking stares through that kid's window, looks for anything he can find, but no one's going to give them that angle. He'll give away his position, open it up, but Paul, inside of walk-in, holds an aggressive position, but KDS will find the opening. That's reset's gone, and he's going to find a second one as Volps looks to get aggressive, but Paul pops out and gets one. He'll look for a second one, but he gets shut down by Souls. The execution will arrive. Candela's blinding all of Liquid and FaZe. We're back to a flying form. They bounce back from a flawless defeat and get a very, very clean execution. This is a very dangerous game, and I did say in my predictions, while I want Liquid to win the series, I think Oregon's going to go for FaZe, and so far it's followed my script.
Did you think it would be this one-sided, though? Did you think FaZe were going to come out of the traps on attack?
No.
Yeah?
No. I have so far, in this stage, the way I've seen Liquid play has been the best Liquid I've seen in a long time, and it's a FaZe that's left question marks around it. But this has been the most clinical, the most organized, the most sharp and precise I've seen FaZe this entire stage. You know what? It's a joy to watch. It's a beautiful mixture of aggression and massive team levels of coordination. It's worked out pretty well so far, and Liquid, bar for that one round, haven't found continuous and successful answers to that level of aggression. Andal moves to the tertiary site on their final defense. This, you know, you look at basement, you normally see that as a gimme to the defense. You look at this and go, this is a pretty standard take for the offensive side.
You gotta say that, but again, I want to point it out. FaZe Clan have used their utility so well in this matchup. As again, you know, Ying came up big in that one. The nades were picking up kills. They've been using Monty successfully in rounds as well. FaZe Clan, like we always say it, you in particular, this is an FPS game. It's a first-person shooter being the key word. But your utility usage is key, and FaZe Clan have been using every little trick in the book so far for the operators that they have been bringing. So you pointed out, now we go to a site that attackers tend to have quite a lot of success on, and this one. And the way that they build that success, well, you take the top floor, you take small tower, you get some verticality in play, and you force those defenders to play externally outside of the site, which gives you an easy tick. So Nesk now, playing in this position, will need to play his life, but the big problem for Nesk is the Monty Whippet.
No, Monty there's no captures, Gibby. There's no captures. There's no ADSs, there's no Amidis, so those nades are going to be brutal on this position. He has the keeper bars to give himself some cover. 2 nades have been expended on him, but there's 2 more to work with inside of FaZe. And as long you can stay here as long as you want. The drones know you're there. You're very vulnerable to a nade, and the Monty gets you so much control. A nade detonates, removes his cover, and the Monty begins to encroach on that position. A nade will put him to 1 HP. Well, it's going to be Liquid. They got a perfect crossfire. Vidaking and KDS are going to be the first to fall. And while Nesk is in a very nasty position, a Monty pressed right up against him, and nowhere to go, no cover. He's He's going to try and snake around. He's not going to be fine. This is the Monty. The Yokai drone's going to stun him perfectly. But I think the knife will be enough to get Nesk out of that position. And he fought very well to keep the time on his side. Minute 30 to work with, and he's just cleared small tower.
Minute 30 gone already. He's done his job, as you pointed out. Playing in positions like that, it is all about how much of the time you can use up. So Monty has now stepped into sight and found it completely vacant, but there are players inside of Showers looking this way. So the pings are coming out. Cyber will look to go on the hunt to pick them up, as the big issue is Souls is actually the player who's got the case. So Monty is just in sight, being a conduit of information for the side of FaZe Clan. Handy, 1 HP left to go, but with a minute on the clock, decisions are going to have to start to be made by FaZe. Liquid have done a great job so far slowing this down.
Really dragging out every second of this round. Handy on low HP. Cyber vaults in and gets himself slain. 40 seconds. Jonas finds one to Handy. Yamar sings out and gets one in DBNO, but Paulu swings wide and gets the job done. Round 6 goes to Liquid, but that's only their second round of the defense here on Oregon. 4-2. Return to the olden days, you'd say. Give it a 4-2 split, but normally you see it in the defense. FaZe swap around, side swap, and round number 7, as I love to say, can be one of the, if not the most important round of a game of Siege. It is that conversion. It's that time to change the tempo. Liquid are going from being reactive to what FaZe are doing to setting the tempo, being their own kind of coordinators, the own directors of the symphony. And this could be huge. Will they go aggressive, or will they go for more sensible, structured approaches? FaZe go to the basement first.
I'm curious. I actually want to see what they're going to do, because, as you said, they have two options here. Do you try to match FaZe's tempo on their attack, or do you go a little bit more slow, a little bit more cautious? Well, bringing the Monty does tell you that they're going to try to take a lot of ground in the early stage of the round. And then you might get people who say, oh, they're bringing a Ying. It means they're going to go fast. Well, no, it doesn't. This is Oregon. Usually you bring the Ying for that late drop through that hatch as you try to isolate pillar players a little bit later onto the round, because we know how much confusion those Candelas can cause. So for me, in the early stages, the two big players to keep an eye on are Nesk and Lagonis. What can Monty do as far as taking ground? And is Nesk going to be able to find that opening pick on an operator as crucial to a setup like this one as the Iana?
We've seen a tremendous amount of use of Monty inside the Brazilian region so far, and while I have numbers to track that in front of me, it feels like, from at least the eye test, it's been a very prominent solution to getting map control for these sides. It does look like it's going to be a little bit more of a standard bit by bit take, that you're aware of the threat inside of Big Tower, and that could be a difficult thing to clear. You have someone lurking in T2, good drone network, you know it's there, but look how much control they've got from that western side. They're already all the way deep inside of kitchen, knocking on top of freezer stairs. The one big threat is if there's a garage or if there's an attic rotate, you need to deal with that player in tower. Otherwise, this entire mid floor gets a little bit dangerous, that potential flank. Well, there is no rotate, so they're pretty safe for now. They need to find this player who's likely going to be lurking. Well, it's Cyber, lurking on the stairs. Safe.
It gives away his position a little bit too, as he's spotted by the drone. So he pre-fires in the meeting, hoping to potentially catch someone through the punch hole. And now Volps will just step into Big Tower, meaning that cannot do that anymore. Jaeger can't play as aggressively on the stairs because Volps is in that position. He's going to hold the angle as now Monty begins to push in as well. So, one of the fun things about Monty, yes, you can take a lot of ground too, but you can also take the can openers in the back pocket to just open those hatches. So, just in case anything happens to happen, resets in the earlier stages of this round.
Can opener will crack open hatch inside of freezer. Looks like Lagonis will be the vocal point of that push. As I said, he rotates deep away from it. Lots of options, lots of avenues for Liquid. No engagements yet, but it's Oregon. Not really surprised about that one. We expect it to take its time to get to that exciting final 45 seconds. X-Kyro's pellets destroyed by KDS. Give him a little bit of time. The Monty spotted creeping down backstairs. The keeper barrier means it's difficult for people behind him to make these engagements work, but Cyber's running out of space. He has one of those Goyo canisters to pop if he feels that pressure. Mighty King takes a beating and left on 1 HP. Cyber gonna attempt and swing wide. An A goes off, but he should get traded. Doesn't even get one. Bobs finds the opening. Goyo's gonna burn away. That's 10 seconds that you can't push from barrel. The flashbangs will do nothing. It's a Warden, and Souls will find that opening to trade back onto Nesk.
4 versus 4, 35 seconds to go. There's another Candela, but once again, it's Warden in position, but he steps up and misses the shot. So Warden still playing inside of elbow, but with only a little bit of HP to deal with. And now Monty can begin to oppress. He forces Viking back in through the breach. So Viking steps in towards Laundry once more. He's going to hold from this Harry Potter counter. Palu stepping in 13 seconds. The case is going to go down right on the door handle. KDS swings around. He takes down Volps, and the case is prevented from going down. 5 seconds to go. KDS clutches out the round for FaZe Clan. And well, it has been so good on the defensive side, but KDS really pulled that one out of the bag for a side.
Huge individual effort to get that one in the bag. FaZe look to be near unstoppable so far here on Oregon. I guess for us who want to cast these two teams as long as we can, thankfully it's a best of 3. Complete control from FaZe so far. Not really aggression in the defense, but it's just that patience, that structure. They're waiting, they're letting Liquid take control, but when those fights arrive, when those early engagements happen, they're going to win them. They won them every single time. It's a difficult one. Difficult one for Liquid so far. We'll move upstairs. This site's a little bit easier to attack and break down. You want to hope they'd get it. Imagine they could do so.
You hope so. FaZe Clan win this next round, and all of a sudden it's match point. You know,
Scary.
risking.
That's scary, you know. Well, it feels like we've been only casting for about 5 minutes, Gibby.
Well, I will say this. Again, we were in the room when Team Liquid famously got beat 7-0 by W7M. And then came back. They came back and managed to win the next one. So 5-2 to Team Liquid at this point. Not really something that players like Palu and Nesk are going to be phased by. Even Lagonis, or some people like to call him Lagotinus. They've been around for a while. They've been in these scenarios in the past, and it is a best of 3. You can lose maps, and for FaZe Clan, with it being a best of 3 as well, you can take more risks. That's what I love about this format, because I feel the best of 1 format leads to more cautious siege. When you get into best of 3s, you can try something, because you lose map 1, well, you've still got at least 1, maybe 2 still to play.
I just figure out the least interpretation of what FaZe try to do. Looks like a primary west side execution. One player will hold or rotate and cross all the way out by bus, and Paulu will be the primary vocal point of this execution. Resets uncontested towards Big Tower will open up this angle, and that's going to be an active threat the FaZe need to worry about at this stage. You've opened up this entire position, now you got to feel that pressure. A very spread out Liquid so far, but they're getting a lot of map control for what is essentially free. They're walking in the master bedroom. Trophy doesn't look to be that held. No head holes on the attic wall as well, but Cyber in small tower is cooking. He wants to go for that run out, and he's waiting for the perfect moment to do so. Paulu can't stop him. And the moment he hears that someone's either on that master bedroom balcony, I think he's going to bait for it now. No one's there. He went fishing, and no one's going to bite on that bait. A retreat back to site, and a long way he has to go. ED1 goes out to the Lion, and Handy finds the opening on the vault from that breach. Ness going to get a trade back to Souls, but it looks to be damage done. Ness just waltzes on in, finds one to Handy. Cyber tries to retake control from White, but down below in meeting. KDS might get the perfect angle. Does it? No. The MPX is a pea shooter, can't get the damage done. Liquid hold the advantage. One player's offside, and Nesk is going to go big for a triple. KDS, the last one, now has to retake all the way from White stairs. Oh, he's going to delete Lagonis. Bye-bye. No more chance to get that case down. This is certainly winnable. Resets on a single point of HP. Nesk will need to find this. Flashbang goes up. That's only going to trigger a swing, but he's deep inside of sight. No, he falls back. Resets. We'll try and stick this one out. His information good. The impact toss down. It stops him. It's down to Nesk in a 1 versus 1. Confirmation goes out, and Ness calls the angle, gives away his position for 45 seconds. He'll push, and the nade will give him cover, but he wins it on anyway. 4K for Ness, and Liquid keep themselves alive.
Well, what a round that was from 2 individual players, but Nesk is the one that come out on top, but Valk ran that close. But the reason Valk was able to do it was those cameras. You could see 2 of his teammates were on cameras for that whole phase feeding information, but at the end of the day, Nesk was able to just time the swing in a 2v1. Even though one of the players was DBNO, he was able to feed the information as to where KDS was pushing from. So we move to round 9. Team Liquid claw themselves just a little bit closer. And now it's going to be the meeting kitchen site that's going to be used by FaZe Clan. And there's a debate. There's a bit of an ongoing debate right now in circles. Which of these tertiary sites is the better one? A lot of teams like kitchen meeting, a lot of teams like kitchen dining. Honestly, I think both of these sites are valuable options to defend, provided you do it the right way. When you go to kitchen meeting, though, that attic hallway and big tower become vital pieces of territory. You talk about the front line of warfare and, you know, where you want to draw that battle line. If you're FaZe Clan, I feel like if you give up attic control and you give up tower, that is a massive, massive win in the round for Team Liquid if they can go ahead and do that.
Big thing I'm looking at is that round's going to revitalize a little bit of Nest's energy. Finds a 4K. Difficult 1v1 to win as well. Typically, you see teams bounce back from that. Souls is doing his best impression of Croxon, Spanish player that loves to fight instead of lobby. Listen, Gibby, every time I've matched Croxon in ranked, I've slammed him in that position. He's never got me once from his lobby peaks. Never. Because I just know he's doing it. No success, no imitation of that one this time.
The most minor reference. Oh, Handy almost getting his feet taken from beneath him, but it's genuinely one of the most niche references I think you've ever said on a cast. Talking about Croxon, who played Spanish Nats and a little bit of Challenger League. But yes, he did like to play that angle. But now we got ourselves a little bit of a tense battle. You've got Handy holding the angle inside of maps. Which of these players is going to breathe first? The Volps, of course, we talked about the impact that he has had. Souls is holding the cross as well, so even if he does step on out, one of these players should be able to get the trade back the other way. You look at the silhouettes off in the distance, everyone else beginning to push from across that west side. Souls gets the map store completely cut off from by his teammates, so he can only rotate back down through basement. But that means that Volps now will maybe step towards Souls.
Oops is in a scary position. Worse so for Paulu. He's first to fall. UMP rattles off in the distance. Souls will fall himself all the way back. Volps to get slain by KDS, waiting inside of Split. Actually, gets him from Zulu. Minute left to work with, and Liquid down by 2. Need to find that option to this one, but they've not really had much control. A tertiary site, you'd imagine, would be the primary engagement, the primary kind of chance to get themselves to within that one-round striking distance. Hasn't went their way. You're going to need someone to stand tall. Will that be Nest? Will it be Lagonis? The players you'd look to in these moments. 45 seconds. No real control. And the shotgun blast Lagonis to the next week. Now down the Nest and resets. He'll creep around. Get one. Vidaking slain. No direct trade, at least. And the hatch is going to be a beautiful opening. Nest finds a second one. One player in low inside of Split as well. That will be Cyber. A slow crouch walk to get himself inside of Checkers, but upstairs the vertical will be a problem. And no one's watching it as KDS gets flashed out inside of Kids. Nest gets deep inside of Kitchen. He has control of Split, and this is going to be a must-win fight upstairs, and Habana wins it. 15 seconds, and Liquid are back in this one. Cyber needs to win this and gets it done. At this stage, it should be around for FaZe. Locked in. There's no way Resets gets it done, and Cyber collects it, calm as ever. FaZe Clan take round number 9, and they get themselves onto map point here on Oregon.
The pacing of this game is just bonkers.
I love it.
Again,
I love it.
It's bonkers. FaZe Clan have been really turning up the heat, though, and so far Liquid have been evaporating away on Oregon. As you know, this, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And FaZe Clan were able to cook something up to get the win in that round. So this is it. Match point, FaZe Clan. They've got 3 attempts at it, at which point we'll be forced to go to overtime. Something tells me that we're not going to see anything similar to what we saw in the last chance qualifiers for EU at the weekend, where we had a 45 rounder and a best of 3. I think FaZe Clan will probably wrap this one up here in this round. They go down to basement. As you said, it's a site that for the most part you would say is a gimme. And you look at the operators that FaZe Clan have taken. Again, no risks whatsoever. You've got smoke for elbow. Smoke being combined with that Goyo, with those canisters, will be able to slow down so much time. And then the Azami just creating these puzzles and creating these one-way lines of sight that are just going to be so difficult for Team Liquid to push through. And again, you spoke about Monty and his pick rate in Brazil. It seems to me like Monty gets picked 2 times a round in Brior. Never mind 2 times a game. And Lagonis is going to bring him.
It's a punishment. It's an absolute punishment for us. Right, so there's a lore here. Me and Gibby have had some long days in the Power Studio with a Monty in play. It's been quite nightmarish. It's so burnt in my memory how long we had to sit there because of a match point Monty.
It's a thing. It's 100% a thing.
It's a... So we have perhaps a personal distaste of the use of the operator. Again, we can justify it in reasons. Cyber is going to jump on out, try to look for an early engagement. Nothing goes his way. Only gives away his position, but he's safe to fall back. No one's holding that cross, as you wouldn't imagine at that early stage someone would be able to do so. He looks to be wanting to get very aggressive. The rest of FaZe doing that as well. Perhaps sensing blood in the water at this stage. 2 minutes remain. Lots of time for Liquid, but this is going to be a very slow and methodical round. They do not want to make a mistake because, of course, up your screen. Match point for FaZe.
Match point, but again, it's a best of 3, and this is FaZe's map pick. So if FaZe go ahead and win this one, Liquid will not be too annoyed, but the manner of the defeat might be the thing that could be more distressing if they don't manage to get another round or 2 on the board. So what's happening right now? Couple of Liquid players beginning to prepare to push down through that opposite side of the map towards Laundry. Monty is inside a freezer, locking that one down. So that gives Cyber free reign to rotate back on up, but Volps pushes at the perfect time, and he's able to get that one up onto Cyber as siege timing hits him hard. Shield removed from inside of Harry Potter as well. That's going to make it even a little bit more difficult to hold his position as the smokes are going to be tossed, which signals that Team Liquid are starting to move. But here's the problem. Toxic canisters being thrown. Monty is forced to step through the smoke. Volps is going to get taken down by Vita King, but Resets is there to trade it back. Stepping in through Lonley. Les gets another one. It's a 2v4. It's a 1v4 as KDS makes it a 1v3. But Monty is alive. Resets is down. So in reality, all he's got to do is deal with a player inside a freezer, and he should be able to win this round. Monty's pushing. Buck is inside. He steps across. He spots him out. He gets the Buck. It's a 1 versus 2. But the res has been picked on up.
No!
There's the impact. 1 versus 1. 35 seconds. KDS impacts himself, and Monty goes for the drop shot. But my friend, you are not Aya-Gator, and that is going to be a round 1 and a map 1 by FaZe Clan.
He just tried to pull the CAG. The famous CAG Monty drop shot only works in Japan. Doesn't work out that time for Liquid. And FaZe take what is to be rightfully a dominant performance on Oregon. First map goes their way. Liquid. Very, very scary.